You know that feeling when a notification pops up from your banking app and your stomach drops before you even open it? That tiny flinch, that half second of please don't be bad news. And instead of opening it right away, you swipe it away and tell yourself you'll check it later. Later that day turns into later that week. Later that week turns into I'll deal with it after payday. And somehow weeks go by and you still don't actually know what's in your account, what you owe, or where you stand. You just have a general feeling. And that feeling is usually wrong. Here's the strange part. This isn't a poor person problem or a rich person problem. It isn't a boomer problem or a Gen Z problem. Every single generation does a version of this. Boomers avoided opening pension statements. Gen X avoided checking credit card balances after a rough month. Millennials avoid their banking apps the way some people avoid the dentist. And Gen Z, the generation that grew up with every piece of financial information available in their pocket, still manages to go weeks without knowing their real balance. Different tools, same habit. Everyone thinks they're uniquely bad with money. Nobody realizes they're all doing the exact same thing. And that thing isn't overspending. It isn't debt. It isn't even bad financial decisions. The single biggest mistake every generation repeats is this: avoiding the numbers instead of facing them, not knowing on purpose, choosing comfortable uncertainty over uncomfortable clarity. And today we're going to break down why this happens, why your brain actually rewards you for doing it, and how to stop doing it before it costs you more than the truth ever would. My name is Finwick, and I spend a lot of time thinking about why smart, capable people manage to avoid the one thing that would actually fix their finances, just looking at them. If you've ever felt more anxious about opening your bank app than you were about the actual number inside it, stick around, because this one's for you. Hit subscribe if this sounds familiar. It helps more than you'd think. Let's be honest about something first. Financial advice usually skips this part. Everyone talks about budgeting apps, investing early, cutting expenses, building credit, all useful. All also completely useless if you're not actually looking at your numbers in the first place. You can't budget money you haven't tracked. You can't fix debt you haven't added up. You can't build a savings plan around a number you're guessing at. And most people are guessing, not because they're bad at math, because they're avoiding the moment where guessing turns into knowing. So why does this happen? It starts small, the same way every financial mistake does. You get a credit card bill that's a little higher than expected. Instead of opening it and seeing the real number, you tell yourself, I know roughly what's on there. You skip a paycheck to paycheck breakdown because doing the math feels stressful, so you just estimate. You know you have some savings, you're just not sure how much. You know you owe some money on that loan, you're just not sure how much interest is piling on. None of this feels like avoidance in the moment. It feels like efficiency, like you're saving yourself the stress of confronting a number that might upset you. But here's what's actually happening underneath. Your brain isn't avoiding math. Your brain is avoiding a feeling, because an unknown number can still be imagined as fine. A known number can't be unknown. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. And that's exactly why people delay looking. Let's use an example, because this is easier to see from the outside than the inside. Imagine two people, roughly the same income, roughly the same expenses. Person one checks their accounts every single week, 10 minutes, no more. They see the balance, they see what's coming up, they see what's tight this month. It's not always pleasant. Some weeks the number is lower than they'd like, but they always know exactly where they stand. Person two avoids checking, not because they don't care, but because checking feels stressful, so they push it off. They estimate. They round up their savings in their head. They round down their debt. They tell themselves I'll do a real review soon, and soon never quite arrives. 6 months later, person one has adjusted twice. Small tweaks. Cut a subscription here, moved $50 into savings there, caught a billing error before it became a pattern. Nothing dramatic, because nothing had time to grow into a crisis. Person two, on the other hand, opens their account after months of avoidance and finds a number that's genuinely worse than they imagined. Not catastrophic, necessarily, but worse. A subscription they forgot to cancel. A balance that quietly grew with interest. A number in their head that was, it turns out, wildly optimistic. And now they're not just dealing with the actual problem. They're dealing with the shock of realizing how wrong their mental picture was. That shock is expensive. Not in dollars, at first, in motivation. Because discovering you were more wrong than you thought makes people spiral. Not budget, it makes them think, what's even the point of trying? Instead of, okay, let's fix this piece by piece. Person one never has that moment, because person one never let the gap between imagination and reality get that wide. This is the part people miss about financial stress. It's not just caused by not having enough money. It's caused by not knowing how much you actually have. Uncertainty is its own kind of expense. It sits in the back of your mind all day. It shows up as a low hum of anxiety when you're trying to enjoy dinner out, because some part of you knows you haven't looked at your balance in 3 weeks and you're not totally sure this dinner is a good idea. It shows up as decision fatigue, because every purchase becomes a small negotiation with an unknown number instead of a quick check against a known one. People assume financial stress comes from having less money. Often it comes from having an unclear picture of the money you do have. Now, every generation has its own excuse for why this pattern is uniquely justified for them. Older generations grew up when checking your finances meant calling the bank, waiting for a paper statement, standing in line. Avoidance back then was almost built into the system. It took effort to know your numbers. Now, it takes effort not to. Every generation since has had faster and faster access to their own financial information, and somehow the avoidance hasn't gone away, it's just changed shape. Instead of not having access, people have access and choose not to use it. That's a completely different problem, and honestly a harder one to fix, because you can't blame the system for something that's one tap away on your phone. According to a report from the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, a significant share of adults say they rarely or never check their account balances before making a purchase, relying instead on a rough mental estimate. I'll be upfront that I don't have live access to pull the exact current figure for you, so if that stat matters for your own research, it's worth double checking directly on their site. But the behavior it describes will probably sound familiar even without the exact number attached to it, because almost everyone has done some version of I think I have enough instead of actually checking. Here's why this avoidance is so sneaky. It doesn't feel like a financial mistake while you're doing it. It feels like self-protection. Not checking your account after a rough spending week feels like giving yourself a break. Not adding up your total debt feels like avoiding unnecessary stress. Not looking at your retirement account during a bad market month feels like staying calm instead of panicking. In the moment, avoidance disguises itself as emotional intelligence, like you're the mature one, choosing peace over obsession. But there's a difference between not obsessing over your money and not knowing your money. One is healthy detachment. The other is a blindfold you put on yourself. And the tricky part is, from the inside, they feel almost identical. This is also why avoidance is so hard to catch in other people, let alone yourself. Someone who avoids their numbers doesn't look reckless from the outside. They don't have visible red flags. They still show up to work, still pay some bills on time, still seem generally fine. Avoidance is quiet. It doesn't announce itself with a maxed out card or a repossessed car. It just slowly disconnects you from reality, one skip check-in at a time, until the gap between what you think you have and what you actually have becomes wide enough to genuinely hurt you. And it doesn't just affect people who are struggling. This is the part that surprises people. High earners avoid their numbers too, sometimes even more than people living paycheck to paycheck. When you're barely scraping by, the numbers force themselves on you. There's no room to avoid them. But when you're earning well, avoidance gets easier, not harder, because there's enough cushion that small leaks don't announce themselves immediately. A person earning a comfortable salary can go a full year without noticing a slow bleed of subscriptions, fees, and forgotten balances, simply because nothing forced them to look. The cushion that should have created security instead created blind spots. This is why you'll meet people who earn genuinely good money and still feel a quiet unease about their finances they can't quite explain. It's not that they're broke, it's that they don't actually know what they are, and not knowing is its own kind of stress, even when the underlying numbers would probably be reassuring if they just looked. Let's talk about what avoidance actually costs, because it's not abstract. It's very specific. Late fees you could have avoided if you'd seen the due date coming. Overdraft charges because you assumed you had more of a buffer than you did. Interest that quietly compounds on a balance you haven't looked at in months. Subscriptions that renew without your notice because checking your statement line by line feels tedious. None of these individually ruin someone, but they add up in exactly the same quiet way that lifestyle creep does, except this version is worse in one specific way. With overspending, at least you know something's happening. With avoidance, you don't even know the damage is occurring until you finally look. There's a psychological reason this keeps happening across generations, and it comes down to something called the ostrich effect, a well-documented pattern where people avoid negative financial information specifically because it's negative, even when that information would help them make better decisions. Your brain isn't malfunctioning when it does this. It's actually doing exactly what it evolved to do: avoid pain. The problem is that in the short term, avoiding a scary number feels like avoiding pain, but in the long term, it guarantees a bigger version of that same pain later, with interest attached, literally. So how do you actually break this? Not by forcing yourself to obsess over every transaction. That's not sustainable, and honestly, it creates its own kind of anxiety. The goal isn't hypervigilance. The goal is regular, low-stakes honesty with your own numbers so that nothing ever gets the chance to build up into a shock. Step 1. Set a weekly money check-in, not a monthly one. A lot of financial advice tells you to review your budget once a month. That's too slow for building the habit of honesty. Once a month gives avoidance 4 whole weeks to hide things from you. Once a week, 10 minutes, same day every time, Sunday morning, Friday after work, whatever fits. You're not doing a deep audit. You're just looking. Balance, upcoming bills, anything unusual. That's it. The goal isn't analysis. The goal is familiarity, because familiarity kills the fear that makes people avoid checking in the first place. Step 2, write down the real number, not the rounded one. When people avoid their finances, they tend to think in rounded, comfortable estimates. I've got about $2,000 saved. I owe somewhere around $3,000 on the card. Those rounded numbers feel safer, but they're also where the gap between imagination and reality starts to grow. Once a month, write the exact number down somewhere, not to judge yourself, just to replace the vague feeling with an actual fact. A specific number is boring. A vague feeling is where anxiety lives. Step 3. Do a debt inventory once, and only once, in detail. This is the one people avoid the hardest, because seeing every single balance in one place, all your cards, all your loans laid out together, can feel overwhelming. But here's the thing, you already owe that money whether you look at it or not. Looking at it doesn't create the debt. It just lets you actually plan around something real instead of something imagined. Most people who finally do this say the same thing afterward. It wasn't as bad as the version of it living in their head. The imagined number, built up over months of avoidance, is almost always scarier than the actual one. Step 4. Automate the boring parts so avoidance has less room to operate. A lot of financial avoidance isn't really about big decisions. It's about small, repeated ones, like remembering to move money into savings, or checking whether a subscription renewed. Automate what you can. Automatic transfers to savings the day you get paid. Automatic bill pay for fixed expenses. Automatic alerts for anything above a certain amount. This doesn't replace your weekly check-in, but it removes some of the moments where avoidance usually sneaks in, because the system is working even on the weeks you're too tired to check manually. Step 5. Separate the checking from the judging. This might be the most important one. A lot of people avoid their numbers because in their head, checking their account and judging themselves are the same action. You open the app and immediately you're grading yourself. Good week, bad week, doing great, failing again. That emotional weight is exhausting, and exhausted people avoid things. So practice separating the two. Checking your balance is just information gathering. It's neutral. It's not a report card. You can look at a rough week and simply note, okay, spending was high this week, here's why, here's the adjustment, without turning it into a referendum on your worth as a person. The moment checking your numbers stops feeling like a test, it stops feeling like something to avoid. Now here's the part that ties every generation together, and it's not a coincidence. The people who look back and say, I wish I'd started tracking sooner, and the people who look back and say, I wish I'd started saving sooner, are usually talking about the exact same root cause. They didn't lack the tools. They didn't necessarily lack the income. They lacked consistent contact with their own numbers, which meant every financial decision they made was based on a guess instead of a fact. And guesses, even well-intentioned ones, drift over time. They drift toward optimism because it's more comfortable to assume things are fine than to check and find out they're not. This is why the mistake repeats generation after generation, even as the tools get better and the information gets easier to access. It was never really about access. It's about a very human instinct to look away from things that might make us uncomfortable, even when looking is exactly what would prevent the discomfort from getting worse. Your grandparents avoided their finances because checking was inconvenient. You avoid yours because checking is uncomfortable. Different excuses, same outcome. So here's the actual point of all this. You don't need a perfect financial system. You don't need to become the kind of person who tracks every dollar down to the cent, and you definitely don't need to spiral into anxiety every time you open your banking app. What you need is a simple, repeatable habit of looking, honestly and regularly, at numbers that are already real, whether you check them or not. The debt exists whether you add it up or not. The balance is what it is whether you check it or not. The only thing avoidance changes is how prepared you are when reality eventually shows up, and reality always shows up eventually. Your future self isn't asking you to have a perfect financial plan today. They're just asking you to stop flinching every time a bank notification pops up. Open it. Look at the number. Let it be exactly what it is. No more, no less. That single habit, repeated weekly, is worth more than almost any budgeting trick, any investing strategy, any spending rule you'll ever hear, because none of those things work on numbers you're too scared to look at. If this made you think about the last time you actually checked your real balance instead of guessing, hit subscribe, drop a like, and let me know in the comments, what's one financial number you've been avoiding looking at, and what would it actually take to check it this week? Because that one look might be the moment you finally stop repeating the mistake every generation makes.